Grant Denyer now.
It's Grant Denyer.
The gold logie this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Denyer.
And our mum, Shazzy Daniel. She's really crazy.
It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shazzy Denya.
And George Denyer.
Georgie D. Boo, boo. Hey, loving you on the gram at the moment, bro. You're pretty active. You're popping out dances. You're giving us love updates. It's all happening.
Yeah, I'm an open man. Not in the way you're thinking, not in the open relationship. I'm just an open guy. I've got a lot happening. I'm telling you about it. Yeah, doing TikTok dances and just bringing you along the journey.
Even though it's new love, you're straight onto it in terms of happy to sort of show yourselves and your affection for one another. Very.
Hold on a what?
I'm not being judgmental.
No, that sounds a bit weird.
Well, what do you mean?
No, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and it's interesting because I don't know. A lot of people I've spoken to are kind of in the same boat. They got with somebody early on and thought they'd just date in secret for a few months and then just let it all out that this is what they are. And I know some people who didn't post a photo together with their partner until 3 years into a relationship.
Holy heck! Because they had someone on the
sounds
side
familiar.
and they didn't want anyone to know, or just it was like a really extended try before you buy program where they weren't at 2.5 years, still not sure whether this person was worth putting on their own Instagram account because they didn't know how the relationship was going to go. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But I think everyone's situation is different, and I think between myself and little bum nugget 07 is what she goes on as under on Instagram,
which makes me laugh.
Which
hard
makes me question
every time I see it.
What is a bum nugget?
This is a hemorrhoid, isn't it?
Is it?
A lot of people do think that. It's a very funny story, and I think we'll have to get her on to talk about it. But
yes.
basically...
Yes, we will. Sorry.
No, fill us in before Shazzy interrupts your story. Explain what bum nugget means.
Bum nugget basically means little shit. She was a little shit growing up.
Oh, right. Well, that makes sense.
And still is, to be completely honest.
That's pretty funny. I looked on your gram the other day, and you were both lying down in bed, which was cute. And she was reading to you. Was it Lord of the Rings?
What?
Oh man, it was. I don't even care what it was. It was just boring. It was like House of the Dragon, like Game of Thrones stuff.
It looked horrendous. I won't lie. Your eyes were twitching and glazing over at the same time, like it was painful. And she was reading it to you. Clearly, it's her favorite book. You could tell she was so invested that you needed to hear this, and she was reading it for you. You weren't even using your own eyes across the page. She was dictating the entire book to you. And at that moment, I thought, you poor man. You poor man.
And I'm very open and honest about this, right? The reading of the Game of Thrones book is not for me. And on TikTok, hair videos, the constant hair videos, I cannot deal with it. Just the videos of, cutting hair and dyeing the hair and just the infatuation with hairdressing. And I'm just like...
Do you have to watch her?
Is she a hairdresser?
Videos? Yeah.
She's a masseuse.
It's got nothing to do with hair.
Yeah.
That's back
Maybe she
hair.
secretly wants to be a hairdresser.
Oh, I'm so confused.
And is it like my kids where you have to watch their videos because they think it's the greatest thing that's ever been invented, and you're like, fuck, man, it's just someone doing a cartwheel. Just calm the hell down.
It's a bit like that. But like you're laying down in bed and you're about to go to sleep and you hear hair talk and you just go, I just want to have a cute little moment saying goodnight. But no, it's just hair videos. So anyway,
there's so
they're the
many
things you got to
things
put
that I
up
could
with.
say right now, which I won't.
Why not?
Because.
Well, hey, you've never held back before. Why would you start this rule
It's all
now?
true.
Exactly.
George, you can't be introducing the love of your life to everyone on the gram and not putting her on the podcast.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
I do feel a bit betrayed. You're right.
Portrayed.
Yeah.
You want to get that word right?
Betrayed. I feel betrayed as a man who's feeling betrayed.
Yeah.
You're right.
I agree, guys.
You're putting it up on your Instagram before you've even, this is your number one duty. Like, not even your radio gig in Central Queensland takes you the number one spot to this podcast.
That's right. No. We've won award after award. Oh, hang on. That was in my dreams.
We printed those out ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Well, we will.
We told people we were winning awards so we could get guests on this show. Sucked in, Gabby
podcast.
Bernstein. Ha ha! We ain't won shit. We tricked your fancy New York publicity team with our fake awards.
Well, why don't we just set a date, a time to catch up have a very, a bit of a chat with Carly.
That would be really cute.
Yeah, that would be
No,
good.
excuse me. Use her real name, Bum Nuggets.
I'm Nugget 07 is her birth name, but I call her Carly.
Oh, that's it's
Yeah.
actually really sweet.
I don't want to put too much pressure on you, mate. But,
I do. Fuck
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
He's
true.
been introducing everyone on Instagram. And
you're
why
right.
are you watching all his Instagram
Hey,
videos?
good dancing, by the way. I really enjoyed
Thank
that
you.
routine. It was actually quite long, so that would have taken a bit of time to put down. That's a mighty corrie.
Yeah, 30 seconds of Corrie, and it was like on a very late night. It was midnight, actually, and we had nothing to do, and we thought, you know what, let's make a bloody TikTok. Put it up on the TikTok.
Most people have sex, but okay, whatever.
Most people are asleep.
That's fine, bro. Whatever you want to do.
Or watching hair talk.
No, you're. I can tell that you're a man who's choreographed maneuvers for, and I know we've spoken about your wonderful past in the musical sphere, and I can see that. Yeah, I can see the showman coming out.
There's a little something still stuck there. Whenever a moment to jump out and dance is there, I will absolutely do it. But right now, my heart is in the podcast.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Hey, we got a great guest today.
We do, because it's season 7, episode 10 today. It's
Yep.
the last episode of this season.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Should we bring our guest in?
Quick, do a big applause for us. Yay.
This is really good.
This is such big news, guys.
What's the news?
We got interviewed the other day and they said, we can't believe you're 7 seasons in. And we had a bit of a giggle.
That's only because we don't work for anyone that we weren't able to be sacked. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing about doing your own thing. There ain't no bosses. There's no one who can fire us.
Good. It just sounds so good, but our seasons are so short.
Yeah,
It's like 5 episodes in a season.
Classic. All right.
Season 27. There's only 2 episodes per season.
I know. It was just so strange how she said, the journo, she was like, I can't believe you're 7 seasons in. Like, do you just pinch yourself?
Yeah.
I reckon a lot of people base their seasons off years. So if you've done 7 seasons, you've done the podcast for 7 years. We've done it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's right.
So true. It's a good manipulation of the numbers. It makes us sound fancy when we're trying to jag international guests.
We are fancy.
We've got a great national guest today.
Who've we got?
Should we just bring him in and then?
You're steering the show today, my darling.
Well,
Grant's producing because I've been unwell.
I'll bring him in, and then we'll do a proper intro.
Righto.
Okay, just waiting for him to connect now. This is where the podcast really starts to fly.
It's a familiar name. I like this.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. This is really good. I don't know.
We need some
All right,
elevator
I'll
music.
I'll fill it. Okay, so he's a national radio legend. And now he's connecting, so I can't say anything nice. So let's see if he's there. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Are you there?
Well, as soon as you said legend, I went, well, that's obviously my intro. So I didn't even hear radio. I just said legend, and I went, well, that could apply to so many aspects of my career. So it's great to be here.
Don't mention your name because we haven't said who you are yet. We're just we kind of this is a slow
We want to
drip
build
reveal.
suspense.
Okay, so
Yeah,
let me build you up
let's be
this way.
honest. As soon as you said legend, I think everybody's guessed it's me. I think everybody's on that.
Shut up, Mez. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we had Gabby Bernstein, one of the great broadcasters of the world, an international motivational powerhouse who sells out stadiums. This week we've got this dickhead. Merrick Watts is here.
Yes, listen to the applause. Thank you so much for clapping me in. Oh, it's my own human hands doing it. What a tragic event this is.
Who do you motivate, Mez? Gabby Bernstein. She's improved our lives in 10 easy steps. What are you gonna? How can you help us?
Oh, we've lost him.
No, the internet's dropped out. We've got George, so it's Mez, are you there? Have you paid the power
sorry,
bill?
that froze up there. I don't know if that was me. Oh, let's blame your technology.
Just because I live in Bathurst, mate, doesn't mean that. Okay, we only did get the power on last week here in town for the first time.
But I will answer your question. You said, who did I inspire? That's a great question. I would say there's at least 3 or 4 blokes in their late 40s, early 50s who saw me on SAS Australia and are now eating 7 less pies a week. So they're just down to the 49 now.
You were incredible on that show.
I mean, yes.
No, you honestly, you were incredible. I remember when we were watching it with our kids, and I was expecting you to come out of the blocks being really funny, and you weren't. No, I'm only joking.
No,
you
I was not.
You
I
were
was not.
serious, and you took it seriously, and that was it was really interesting.
I've never seen that side of you, and it was quite honestly, it was frightening.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Look, I set myself and I just go, who is that idiot? Why is he taking it so seriously? Just calm down, mate. It'll be okay. And I just go, why wouldn't you? I was doing heaps of funny jokes. There's so many funny moments that they just went, no, let's not put that in there. Let's not make him look good. Let's make him look stupid until the very, very, very end when everyone just goes, what? That guy passes? Get stuffed.
No, you were. I think you were. The mental strength that you showed during that was incredibly inspiring. We watched it a lot with our kids, and I have to say, I never really liked many people who went on the show.
Me.
But
sorry, I thought you said never really liked Merrick.
No, but you were just so authentic, and and hands down to you, because that looked frigging hard.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about SAS Australia is that it really is very, very real in the sense that there's no hiding. There's no hiding. They just peel you apart like an onion, and they just go layer after layer, day after day, until eventually your core, good or bad, is exposed. There's no hiding who you are and what you do, and what the way you behave is a really interesting, I suppose, it's an interesting lesson that you learn about yourself. Like, I know myself far better having done that than I ever did going into it, like tenfold. I had no idea really what made me tick until I came out of there and had a bit of a look. And what it does is that it's the pressure is so immense and so intense and unrelenting that you kind of default to whatever the core is of your personality, whatever your base core is, your values, the values that you live and you would literally die by, that's what will come to the surface. There's nothing else. They know how to, and very, very quickly, they know how to strip away all the rubbish. And eventually, after about a week or so, you start to see people's real personality shine through, good and bad. Mine, terrible. I mean, stripped back and they just went, where's the funny gone? They've stripped all the funny out. He's gone. It's just it's the ugly part of the onion in the middle. It's gone kind of green. It's kicked off and gone green in the middle. Yuck.
I've got no desire to do that show, bro.
No.
It looks like hell. I've got to be honest.
I'd love to see you on that.
No, you can shut up. Don't you ever nominate me, because I will come around and murder you. But what did you discover there, mate? If you said you came out different than you went in, what is it what was the realization? What is at your core? Who was the real Mez when it got down to the nucleus?
I'm somebody who does what they say they're going to do. And it's a key asset of who I am as a person. If I say I'm going to do something, it will get done. It's just, I'm so ruthlessly determined and quite resilient as well that I always knew I was kind of determined, and I kind of knew that I was resilient for things, but like my level of determination, resilience is higher than a lot of other people's. And I think being a comedian, when people see it as that determined and that kind of resilient and that able to handle extreme pressure, like really, really high pressure, was what I kind of found out about myself. And to the point where actually what I discovered was that I actually am better under massive pressure, really, really like life or death, high pressure suits me. I become calmer under massive pressure than I do under no pressure. No pressure is not good for me at all. Psychologically, it's very, very bad and detrimental to my mental health. If I don't have challenges, if I don't have pressure, if I don't have goals, if I don't have something to strive for, I deteriorate. So, and that's what I didn't know that was what I had going into it. But when I came out, I was like, I've got to make sure that, goals and setting difficult tasks for myself are an important part of who I am.
I'll have to pull you up for just a second, because when you say you're going to do something, you absolutely will do it, and you're a man of honour and integrity. You bumped someone for this podcast today that you cancelled on just to fit us in. So for that poor person who's now doesn't have Mez in their life, or whatever appointment that was, they're not feeling your integrity or your commitment to following through on what you promised to do. However, mate. Now I've got my actual question.
To be fair, that was this is my parole officer, so I mean he can wait.
Mate,
he's always around.
If you reckon that you're not good in an environment where you don't have that focus, that you're not committing to whatever it is that you are that you're working towards. What was it like then for you? So you're a man, who's done many a year in radio, and as does many radio people, you bounce from show to show and sometimes network to network, and sometimes there isn't a gig. What do you like when all that stops?
Yeah, that was the thing with SAS Australia. I'd done 20 years of radio at the highest level, either doing National Drive or doing Breakfast in Sydney. So at the highest tiers for 20 years non-stop. At the end of the 20 years, I left it on really good terms in radio, which, is not very common to be able to walk out of a radio station or radio company on really good terms. So when I left, I was really pleased with the way I exited radio. And I also felt like I'd had the most enjoyable year of radio I'd ever had, possibly in my last year of radio. So that was at Triple M, and I loved it. It was great. And then I wanted to go and do other things. I wanted to start the company that I run now, which is based with wine and the wine industry, called Grapes of Mirth. And so that was my goal. And I went away, and like anything, everyone knows this. Every Australian, no matter what you do, knows that if you start an endeavour, you think, oh, this is going to take a year or two. And then 5 years later, you're going, oh, my God, 5 years now? Come on. This is supposed to be quicker. And so I think my expectation is that coming from radio, which was like everything is so reactive, you can just think, do. You have an idea and bang, somebody helps you bring it to life. You're in a really tight team of highly motivated people who also love pressure, and they like being creative, and they like the environment. And then when you're not in that environment, it's just like dead air. It's dead space. And for me, the first year I was out of radio, I loved it because I hadn't experienced it for a very long time. And I thought that the pressure would build back again quickly, and it just didn't. And it just got slower and slower, and like my pace, I felt like my pace as an individual was coming down to a level where I just did not like it. I really found it very difficult, and I knew that where it would lead to. I knew that it would lead to basically negative thinking and depression. I knew it would lead to depression, and I wanted to arrest it and control it before it kind of bottomed out. So I wanted to pull the plane out of the nosedive, as it were. And at that exact kind of moment, I was waiting for something, and SAS Australia came along, and that was it. I knew that was the rocket that would bring me back up. And I'm eternally grateful to that process, that show, and the people involved in it.
So you would have thought just some angry UK geezer just spitting at you for 5 weeks straight would actually make you a better human.
Man, he hated me. Ed Middleton hated me. I saw him and I was like, I think he likes the other recruits. He doesn't like me. I annoy him. And I'm not even doing anything to annoy him.
Your face is annoying.
It's just my head. I think he just looked at me and just goes, his ears are too big. His nose is too big. He's old. What is he doing? He's wasting time. But he's here every day doing it again, and he won't go away. And I think he kind of referred to me as the herpes of humans. I just would not disappear permanently. So yeah, it's a funny process, but like I said, it's not even something you go, oh, I'm grateful that I did it. I'm grateful for the way it changed me, and it has inspired me for the rest of my life. I'll never be the same.
You said the word depression. It's often very hard for people to label themselves with that. That's a very difficult thing to arrive at. At what point were you able to go, yep, that's what I got?
Look, I don't think, and I'm very careful about how I say it, because I think, number one, you've got to be open and use the word depression to express, how you're feeling or where your mindset might be. But I also think too that, because I've never been diagnosed or have sought any, real treatment for depression, I can't say that I have had it or or I think everybody feels moments of depression, and I've certainly felt that. But I don't suffer from depression. So
But you just felt
I think
like
at the
you
time, what I saw. Sorry, Shitty?
No. You just felt like you were sliding down into that deep hole. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And look, I think that I have enough aware of myself that I could see that. And like, I don't think I was that far from it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I knew I could see it, but I just arrested it before I got there. But I think it's an important conversation, particularly when you're doing well and people think you're doing well. It's important to remind yourself and others that anyone can slip and anyone can traverse those steps. So I think it's a healthy thing to say the word depression. I think it's okay to use it, but I never use it as a crux, and I never say, I had it, and so therefore, I deserve anything, or I deserve pity or anything like that. It's just a fact. It's just like anybody can have it, and so we've got to be aware of it. So, I don't think that I had it when I went on the show at all. I don't think it was a cure. I don't think going on SAS Australia was a cure for depression by any means. By the time I got to going on that show, I'd already mentally reshaped my entire mind. By the time I went on that show, I knew I was walking out, completing it. There was never a doubt in my mind that I was walking off that show unsuccessfully.
Yeah, it looked like you were walking in to end World War III. You had that look in your eye. I reckon if Putin had seen you face to face right now, he just pulled his tank straight out of the Ukraine. You know what I mean? That's the kind of look that you had on your face from day dot.
Yeah, it's crazy. We call it laser eyes, crazy laser eyes, because I've seen it. I saw it on the show when I watched it with my family, and I went, "Geez, do I look like that?" My kids are like, "That's your face tag." Those crazy laser eyes.
Do you give those eyes if you're going through the McDonald's drive-through and they forget to give you your dipping sauce for your nuggets? If there's no sweet and sour sauce in there, do you give them that look?
Well, you drive back through.
Yeah, I just burn through the window with my laser eyes and just go, put the sauce in the bag, Troy.
You don't look like you're eating much McDonald's nowadays. You're looking pretty bloody
you look
fit.
good.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is the next thing. It's the next challenge. I haven't really, I haven't kind of announced it or talked about it, but the last 3 months I've been training pretty regularly, pretty hard for a marathon. So I'm going to run a marathon in July. The start of July, I'm going to do the Gold Coast Marathon. So I'm in some pretty serious training at the moment. So I weigh less now than I did when I went on SAS Australia, and I was pretty fit when I went on then. So I'd be fitter now. But that's the next challenge. And I need to do something like every year. I need to find something that I find uncomfortable. Because I don't like running. Let's just get that absolutely clear. I hate it. It's dumb. All you do is run for 42 kilometres. Why are you doing that?
Doesn't make sense.
What is at the end of that? It's just like you get to the end of it and then somebody goes, let's go and do another one. Why? Why do another one?
It's hard, Jacko, isn't it?
I haven't. Yeah, it's just dumb. But I haven't done one before, and I turned 50 in November, and I was like, I'll punch it out a marathon, and then I'll find another challenge to do next year, which will be even more stupid.
You look younger now than when you were doing Merrick and Rosso on Nova. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's because I was so unhealthy when I was Rosso and I were working together. I was brutally unhealthy.
Just living the party life, or just working too hard, or you just young bloke, new game,
too many
massive
schnitty.
fame, just living it up.
No, too many schnitties. You're right, spot on. Too many schnitties, too many beers, too many early mornings, not enough sleep, not really taking care of myself. But yeah, my friends and family call me Benjamin Button because I seem to be aging backwards, but I'm all right with that. I think it's actually just because I came off such a low base that anything I do now looks good. It's like when I put on a shirt, people go, "You look amazing." I go, "It's called a collar. That's what I'm wearing, a collar."
That's what happened to us. We had to get our passports renewed recently, and you know how 10 years ago when you have a look at the photo we looked shocking. The early morning starts, puffy,
dark eyes,
too many schnitties, too many beers, traveling on the road. It looked Terrible.
Easy to do. Hey, we've got a young bloke with us called George Sargent. You can see there.
He loves a schnitty.
He's a young and up and coming radio legend. We snapped him up for this podcast so he can just drag us up with him. He's got a great gig now in central Queensland. He does sort of statewide regional radio. Mate, he's killing it. He's 21 years of age. You've had the most remarkable radio career, as you said, across a couple of decades. Everybody loves you. You are so goddamn funny on air. You're one of the reasons I wanted to move into media is because you just made it sound so fun. Mate, just for a young bloke trying to make his way, you've learned 100 lessons. Can you share a couple with us for the likes of George or even any other young media professionals who are wanting to maybe embark on a career? You know, how do we crack you open and learn what's taken you decades to learn?
Number one, love the process. Love the process. Don't look for the results. Enjoy the process. The results will come if you enjoy the process. It's like, it's like fame. I say this to young people, so this is valid for George as well, who, I mean, the viewers can't see him right now, but he's in the creepiest looking bedroom I've ever seen. It looks like a place where people disappear from. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
George,
mind you,
terrifying.
Mind you, Mez, I haven't said a single word here, and radio is all about talking. So maybe I don't even talk, and I'm a radio professional. Like,
I think you need to talk to somebody, possibly the police, because I don't know who's not listening in that room. George, my advice to you would be, process. Fall in love with the process and the results will come. People who love their job the most are the ones who are the most successful. And I say this about fame with young people, and it's really, really true, is that don't try to be famous. Just be good at what you do. And if you're the best at what you do, no matter what you do, the fame will come. Don't look for money and don't look for fame. Fame and money will come when you're the best at something. If you're the fastest person in the world, you're Usain Bolt, you're also the fastest runner in the world. And you are also the richest runner in the world. So, he's got the most fame, he's got the highest speed, and he's got the most money. Well, I think recently he lost a lot, but it's a byproduct of what you do. Fame should only be the byproduct of what you do well. Okay.
Well, George is not a runner, so can you give him some advice that actually equates to his life?
I can see that. All right. Competitive donut eating. Right. What you want to do is
I can get him onto that for sure, Mez.
That's so
But you've been in the industry for 20 plus years. Was there any moments where you thought, you know what, do I really want to continue doing radio? Can I do it forever? But even as somebody now who's sort of dabbling in it here and there and doing interviews, and you get to go back into the station every now and then, do you miss it?
Yeah, I love it. I love radio. I think I love radio because it is immediate and it's contact to people. I love people. I'm a people person, and I also love teamwork. I love being involved with a team to produce something and get the results. So radio is very, very quick and very efficient and very immediate and reactive. It's just like super high paced and lots of pressure, and I really enjoy that. I love talking to people as well. So yeah, I do. I miss it, and I go back and do bits and pieces from time to time, and I love that. It's good fun. But I don't. I had times in my career in 20 years' time where I just wanted to, I'm not gonna lie, I just wanted to blow it up or blow me up or just get out of it. It was just, I've had some really horrific experiences in radio as well. Some of my worst experiences in my career were directly a result of radio, but also too, all the highlights were, from radio. I love it. I love doing what I did. And like I said, the most important thing to me was always when I walked away from radio full time, that I had great relationships and respect within all of the radio houses, all of them, all of the companies. I still frequent every single radio company in this country regularly. And I like the fact that I'm one of the few people that can walk in through those doors and people are happy to see him. That's what I like the most. So as far as a legacy goes, the legacy that you do is not jokes or awards or those sorts of things. The two legacies that I hold dearest to me from my 20 years in radio is people quoting things that I've forgotten, that I've said, that are funny. That's great. That's the best. I just go, I don't even remember that. And they go, that changed my life. And I go, I don't even remember that. And mentoring young people and seeing them achieve things in their radio careers is my greatest highlight. I love the fact there's people on air now who I mentored for years, and I looked after, helping their progress in the radio, and I love doing that. I love seeing what they achieve.
Mez, one of the things when I chat to people about, when they're young in the media game is, be the kind of person that people want to have around in that workspace. Be helpful, be reliable, deliver, try your best. If you can't be good, be cheap. Lessons like that.
That's me.
But as things start to escalate, and the fame starts rolling in and the dollars are getting bigger and everyone's wanting a piece of you, how do you keep control of the ego? Because it happened to me. You get to a point where you genuinely think that there is something special in you and that maybe that you might be better than the person next to you. And sometimes it can be a little bit inevitable. It's not right. It's not the right reaction, but it can creep up on you. So is that something that you really need to be mindful of? And did that happen to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how do you know where the ceiling is unless you hit it?
Yeah, good point.
You've got you're like Icarus. You keep flying and flying and flying until the wings melt. And I actually don't think it's a bad thing. People go, your ego. There's no doubt with me, with the money and the fame, and all the trappings that I was afforded working, in commercial radio with Rosso, that, absolutely, I went completely into the ceiling. Rosso, I don't think hit it as hard as I did, but I absolutely believed all my own hype, hit the ceiling really, really hard, and then fell back down to earth. And the thing is that I think that people think that that's a bad thing. I don't. I value that. Like I said, how do you know where the ceiling is if you haven't punched it? So I think the real trick is, and the real pleasure is the second ascent, the apogee, your second apogee to rise again and to have, another coming with all of the learnings and all the grace that you can take from having the hard knocks. So on the way up, you fly and you should. Then when you get a big smack in the mouth, you come back down to earth, and the humility teaches these wonderful lessons about how to treat other people, how to treat yourself. So you start taking better care of yourself because you want to get better care of humanity. You start to learn these great lessons. And you can only do that if you smashed your face into the wall. And I value it. I know that it seems strange, but I wouldn't have that taken away from me. I'm glad that I've been that asshole and have learned to then become the opposite of that. And like you say, Grant, you're one of those people in show business as well that, one of my great badges of honor is that people like working with me, that people want to be around me, that the door doesn't get shut on me because of my behavior. People expect a level of professionalism from me. They expect a level of consideration and enjoyment when they work with me. And for me, that's the greatest value. It's not the money. It's not the fame. It's the fact that people want to continue to work with me. I like that.
Yeah.
We've had a good giggle in a few episodes back when we were talking about some Australian superstars that we had on Sunrise and in the radio station. Bad behaviour. No antenna. Like with their group of minders and
it's very ego. I think you have to have sometimes. I don't know if this is everyone, but I never had a great, strong self-belief. So I didn't think I was very worthy or very good. So I would manufacture a kind of bravado that was faked to try and trick myself into believing that I actually can do this when I was terrified and freaking out and everything inside of me was going, you're not good enough for this. You're not good enough for this. And then it's very easy for that false bravado when things start clicking and you're getting the gigs and everyone's telling you how wonderful you are, you flick into not only this massive self-belief where you skip a whole section and then now you're like, I'm the great. You go from thinking you are the worst and incapable to the greatest that's ever been, and it's a scary thing when it happens because not everyone catches it. And
I don't know if you were walking around acting like you were the greatest gift to God,
you've never been like that.
No.
Trust me, you've never been
but
that
I've
tall.
met some people.
I've been 10 times the tall that you've been. You're not even close to how much of a tall I am. No, I've seen you at your worst, and it's better than my best. So, congratulations.
I remember when Grant had hurt his back, and we were down in the bowel. I don't. That's a terrible. I'm quite unwell. If you can hear it, Mez. The words aren't coming to me, but in the bottom.
You're in Grant's bowel. Let's go on. I'm in. I'm sold on this story.
Grab a torch, everyone. Climb in.
It's what's it? I don't know. Underneath Channel 10.
The studios.
No, in the green room and the makeup. And Grant had hurt his back and he was about to come and film Celebrity Name Game or something, and You were a bit dicey, weren't you? Because you were in a lot of pain and you were medicated. And remember, Mez came down and he sat with you for ages and spoke to you for ages. And yeah, you've got a big heart, Merrick Watts. I don't know why I just sounded like a teacher, but I can't imagine you being an absolute arsehole either.
I don't think I was never nasty to people. I think there was a period in my career where I was just difficult for being difficult. It was just for the sake of it. It felt like it. And also too, I think there's something that's very difficult to understand is that the lessons about show business can't be taught. They have to be learned. So you have to learn them for yourself. So you have to make those mistakes yourself. And I think that the one thing I learned was that for a period of time I felt, and Grant, you would have definitely felt this, definitely. There's no way not. I often think that you'd be one of the people who has felt this, is what I call the 1,000 hooks, right? Imagine that there's a whole lot of people that want something from you, and every single one of them just puts a fishing hook and a piece of line into your skin. Now, if one person just puts a hook in there and they're pulling on you with their fishing hook, you can feel that hook, obviously. Now, the person knows that they're pulling that hook, they're pulling that string there, but they can only see their fishing line. What they don't see is the other 1,000 hooks that are in you, and you feel like you are being ripped apart. There's so many people that want so many things from you that they're quite small. And this is the thing, they're small things. They're not massive things. They just go, can I just get this small thing from you? And eventually you blow up. You can't handle it because people can't see the other hooks. They think that you're exploding over the one hook, which is the only one they can see. But it's actually the culmination. It's like, the straw that broke the camel's back. But you are being ripped apart by show business. You're being ripped apart by the machinations of the behind the scenes. And it is really tough. And eventually one day one person will say one thing and they are not doing it to upset you, and you just blow up.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the problem with the Dixie Chicks when I gave them their water and it wasn't 21 degrees.
Well,
their voice is very precious, and they were getting death threats at the time. Remember, they just spoken out about
from me
about the American president, so they're a bit sensitive.
Well, yeah, true.
I feel you, mate, and I reckon I relate to that exactly what you just said there.
Very wise.
I reckon there was a period in about 2012, 11, somewhere there, where I was at Channel 7 and I was now not kind of making the shows that I was in showbiz for, and shows were being pushed on me rather than it being a creative process where you go, oh, that sounds great, I'd love to do that. Yes, of course. Now shows were being built in secret, and they weren't really, and they were built for me without me knowing, and then I was sort of pushing the door and they were like, this is your new show. And I don't want to complain about being given a TV show because so many people would dream of that opportunity, right? And it is magical. However,
but you are.
They weren't shows, but I am. And I was exhausted. I had a racing car career going on at the same time.
Yeah.
I was driving for Dick Johnson Racing. I was making 3 TV shows at once, and I was absolutely flogged, and there was nothing left. And it was just, they kept, and when something's working, everyone wants more of you. The CEO of the network could be like, mate, just for me, just one more. Can you do this one more just for me, mate? We're mates. I really need you to do this for me, mate. And you're like, yes, I can do it. Even though inside, I can't. I don't have anything left. And I remember taking on one more thing that I knew I could handle. And you used the words before, blowing up your life. And I reckon I deliberately blew up my life because I just couldn't do it anymore. And I just walked away. And I still, to this day, feel so bad about how I did it. But I just left. I walked from the network. I didn't ring anyone. I didn't tell anyone. I just left the country and just left. I hated the show that I was in. No one was listening. No one wanted to change anything. And so I knew the only thing that could change had to come from me. Because while ever bills were being paid for the network and advertisers were coming in and ratings were up, that's all that anyone was going to care about. My well-being wasn't on the top of anyone's priority, and I just
even when you asked for a holiday, they said no.
No, you got to keep working. Yeah. And I blew up that relationship, and I blew my life up at the time, but I had to walk away. Even though I risked ruining a reputation I'd just spent, 15 years building, because I thought if I don't, I'm going to die. And
but You know what? I remember that time. I remember what you were doing, and I clearly know that at that time I thought, there's a man who's overworked. I remember, because it was like, I remember, you know, because it was news, like it was newsworthy, you know, and the fallout from, you know, walking away from television is always going to attract media attention. But, you know, I could tell you're overworked, and you've been pulled from pillar to post, and people don't. Here's the thing about people who work in show business as well, is that they will always put on the show business face and hide it. You're never going to see them complain about it, not openly, and they'll just bottle it up, push it down, push it down, push it down until pop, and it just explodes. You know, I think if anything, you know, you probably did it in a reasonable fashion. People have done it a lot worse. People have like exploded like a volcano, and they've just taken out everybody around them as well. And, you know, you didn't do that. You can blow yourself up, but you can't blow up other people. It's not fair. But that's the nature of the business. You know, that's what show business is about. It's a lot of fun, but also too, there's a lot of, you know, really difficult personal sacrifices that have to be made. And when you can get to a stage in your life and your career where you can balance the personal sacrifices with the work sacrifices, children help you put a bit of perspective around that, obviously, then you can have a really good time in show business in Australia. This is a great country to work in. You can do really good things. We're still creative. We're still pushing boundaries. We're a small country, but we give it a red hot go. Yeah. And it's open for opportunity. This country allows people to work pretty much on the proviso that you're not a tool. If you burn people, you will fall out in this industry. If you're good, you'll be right.
You know, there's still some tools that are still working though.
Yeah, Rolf Harris had a pretty long career, mate.
Okay.
He went. Bill Cosby. He worked for quite a while.
I mean, look, yeah.
Jimmy Savile, no words needed.
Mainly comedians, really. What I'm saying, dicey comedians they're the trouble. Yeah, they're all terrible sex offenders. Okay, I mean, my people, not sex offenders, comedians. I mean, anyway.
Hey, mate, let's talk about this new phase you're in, the grapes.
Hold on, before you, Grant, before you do that, are you writing some kind of motivational book? No. You should be.
No, I was asked to. And
Yeah.
I had a discussion with a publisher about a year ago, and they said, we want you to write a book about your story and your life and motivate other people to do it, you know, and to have a positive attitude after adversity. And I said, I would, but for one reason. And they said, what's that? And I said, my story's not done yet. It's my story's not done. When I feel like I've written enough chapters of my life, I'll write the chapter in the book, and that will be it. I've still got a few more things that I want to achieve, and I'm very, very focused on, you know, my second kind of evolution in my career, and I'm enjoying it. I want to get that kind of in the right place before I start talking about myself in the third person. Although Merrick is a wonderful human, wonderful human being.
I just love that. When you sit your kids down and you kind of rouse on them or you give them instructions, do they listen? Because I mean, I'm listening. No, okay.
It's a shake of the head. No,
that's good.
You think I'd be able to motivate my children? I can't motivate my children to ride their bikes that I bought. I bought them brand new bikes from the shop, like these awesome bikes. When I was a kid, we would never have had bikes that good. No chance. They've ridden them like 6 times, and they've gone, "Well, Dad, I'm on my phone." I'm like, okay.
Do you ever get Aunt Middleton just on like FaceTime to just get your kids to go to bed, just to get them to eat their greens? Like a real dad?
Yeah. I would, except for Ant has nothing to do with me. Again, he just goes, not that guy again. What is it with him? He just won't go away. He's like the herpes of humans.
But I can't believe he said that, because you weren't the most annoying, you were the least annoying person in that whole season. Are we allowed to say who was annoying? And can I just ask, when you were in that show and people were being annoying, did that annoy you? Because I know
you pulled a few into line, I think, from memory.
Yeah, I had a blow up with Faraz.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I didn't want to mention it.
That was pretty well documented.
Yeah,
but that's because that's who I am. I was fine. I'm fine with anybody doing anything else. I genuinely made so many lifelong friendships from the people I was with on that show. Wonderful, wonderful people, and just great crew. But I'm a massive team player, and anything that brings the team down is I was patient. I thought I was pretty patient, but for us and I saw things very, very differently. And I think sometimes people want to take the path of least resistance and don't want to be involved in a conflict, and neither do I, up until a point. Up until a point. And at some stage, particularly being the oldest person on that show at that time at 46 years of age, so you need a grown-up. You need the old man in the room to step in and say, enough of this. This is childish. This is selfish behaviour. Get in line with the team and pull your head in. And that's what I said. And I never walked back from it. I don't dislike Faraz. I really don't. I just don't like what he's like in the team environment.
What's happened to him? He's disappeared.
Oh, he's acting.
I think he's joined another team. He's in a team and he's loving it. They're great people, and they all really think he's a wonderful guy, and they're having a great time. And they're all people who formerly have worked with me, and they've gone, it's him. He's the problem.
He's the herpes of humanity.
They go, it's a group of people who have worked with me before, and all agree Faraz is right.
Sorry, did you put your hand up, George? Sorry.
No, I didn't. I was probably just chanting along, excited about this conversation.
Okay. Well, we did a fist pump actually when you told Faraz off. Remember, we were like,
we were
yes!
loving it. We were cheering in the lounge room. It was so because I'm a non-confrontational person. I've worked with some people who are explosive, loudmouths, aggressive.
How dare you?
Belittlers, and I don't do well in conflict. But to watch you own that moment because it had to be done on behalf of everyone. Because, like you said, blow yourself up, but you can't take us all out with you. That was cool to watch.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people. I don't undermine people. I never do that. It's too petty. If I'll let things go and go and go and go, and then bang, I've got a limit. And as soon as I do it, then once I've dug my heels in. But like I said, if Faraz wanted to go and have a beer with me now, I'd go and have a beer with him. He probably wouldn't want to have a beer with me, and I wouldn't blame him. He's probably having a beer with Ant Middleton, because those two are friends. They'll exclude me, but whatever. So.
I was doing death stares through the TV at him. Clearly, that's my fighting technique.
I think you said, I just hate his face, I think is what you said at the moment. In the moment,
Grant,
no, because he was being disrespectful, and he was like trying to act his way through it.
Face.
You did, so.
Yeah, I did. Actually.
Hate your face.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
thanks.
the good news is you won't be seeing Faraz and I on the same television show again because neither of us can act. No, I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding.
Celebrity Love Island, mate. Would you be?
There we are.
Is that what you're getting fit for? Yeah.
That's the next one. You know it.
Mate, your new career is wine. Bloody wine. You're a sommelier, and I still can't say the fucking word. What is it?
A sommelier. Yeah, but I'm not really a sommelier. I'm qualified in wine with what they call a Westset Level 3, which is what a lot of good sommeliers will have, but I don't serve wine like a sommelier. So they're good. They know what they're doing. I'm clumsy and uncoordinated.
Mate,
so
you're better than us.
I just like it.
You're an incredible student, and I know how thorough you are when you commit to something. So you've clearly learnt the industry inside out and the art of wine inside out. Why did this become a full-time passion?
I really like it, and I found a way to combine two of my passions, which is comedy and wine, and I just brought them together. I was literally just in a winery one day, and I thought, why don't people do comedy events in wineries? Wineries are unreal fun, and everyone has a good time, and wine's convivial and fun, and it's not like smashing Red Bull and vodka. It's just a different vibe, and so I trialed it when I was still working in radio, and I did one event. And literally just turned around and said, right, I'm quitting radio. And everyone went, do you want some thinking music about that? And I went, no. It's February. I'm out. And they've gone, you've still got a year on your contract, mate. February. And everyone's going, I think you need to have a think about this. And I was like, no, I'm definitely, I think it was March. It had got to March. And I said, no, this is it. I'm out. And then by about May, I was having a panic attack, and I was going, what did you say? No, when I said I'm out, I mean, can we have some thinking music now? And they've gone, but you've kind of said it now. And I went, I know, but like now I've thought it through. And then I was like, nah, it's done. It felt like I just needed to jump in the cold lake, and I'd done it. I'd taken the plunge, and I don't regret it at all. I love it. So, and I like the fact that I can do all of the things that I love. I can do bits of, television. I can do radio. I can do podcasts. I can do anything I like whenever I like. And that's the best place to be in a career.
Yeah, that is cool.
Grapes of Mirth.
Yeah. So look for
Grapes of Mirth.
Where can
check it out.
Where can people find more information about your
Grapes
events
of
and your tours? And
Go to Grapes of Mirth, grapesofmirth.com.au. Go and have a look at the website. You'll figure it out. It's not very hard. It's just comedy and wine. Like, it's really very basic, like me. But yeah, go and have a look at it.
Hey,
it's
you're not
fun.
basic.
And come along and have a drink.
bro, can anyone be good at wine? I don't feel like I've got the wine skill to kind of, how there's a lot of detail in the smelling and the tasting and the picking up the accents and knowing shit about shit. I don't know shit about shit, and
But
I don't think I
we want to sound smart.
Can anyone?
Yeah, I mean, look, I did it. Anyone can do it. Like, I mean, I think that's why people said to me, you should write an inspirational book, right? Is because everybody looks at me and goes, if that guy can do it, literally anyone can do it. Like, it's like when I tell people I actually finished year 12, they're like, well, anyone can do it. Anyone can do year 12. And that's what I say to young kids. I go, look, if I did it, and they go, how many years did you do of year 11? I go, I did 2 years of year 11. That's how much more thorough I am than the average student. So I did 2 years just to button it down and make sure that I had it A1.
Yeah.
And then I went and did year 12. Once I was confident that I'd really thoroughly processed year 11.
Yep.
And that's what it is. I think people just see that and just go, well, if he can do it, anyone can.
We got a couple of...
I was going to say,
you go.
so, okay, you're in a restaurant, right? And the menu comes out and you're trying to look posh. I always struggle with this. Is there a simple way? Because I always have one.
Excuse me.
Grant's brought his bottle of wine here with some glasses.
Good.
Is there? I always just go for a glass of Shiraz, okay? But I've now started to lean more towards rosés. That's a different podcast. But people always say to me, "Why do you drink Shiraz? Isn't it too?" And I can't even think what they say. But
too big, too fruit filled. Too thick, too...
Yeah. They are heavy, aren't they? They're thick. Yeah, thick.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Thick.
Viscous.
Viscous,
So
right.
Heavy.
How should we start this? Could you break down the difference between them?
Well, that's what I was just...
What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask...
Oh, sorry, carry on.
I was just going to ask Mez, what is a really good all-rounder type wine if you're going for a red? Say if somebody's got a really basic palate...
For red wine, Grenache. Go for Grenache. It's lighter. It's my favourite grape. I think Grenache is excellent. We grow awesome Grenache in Australia, particularly in the Barossa Valley and McLaren Vale in South Australia. But Grenache grows right around the country. But it's just really, really very, very good graping, very, very versatile. You can make excellent rosé out of it. You can make it light-bodied, medium-bodied, or full-bodied like a Shiraz. There's so many different ways you can play with Grenache. So that's good for a red. I think as a wine, like a versatile wine, rosé, because rosé goes really, really well with food. It goes well with different types of food. So you can have it with salami and charcuterie will work perfectly because it's got high acid and it'll cut through the fat of any meats that you might have. But also too, it's good with fish. You can have it with fish. You can have it with pretty much anything. So rosé is the most underrated and underappreciated wine, in my opinion.
Is it
That is so good.
a bit
'cause that's what I
girly,
like.
though?
Sorry, mate?
Is it a bit girly, rosé?
Oh, mate.
Oh, he's pushed his chair back. Whoa!
No, I'm walking back from that one. No, I drink it. I love it. And you've seen you can see what I can do. I've proven myself. I was fueled by rosé on SAS Australia. People smuggle things in. I just smuggled in a bottle of Matus up my arm, and that's what I was drinking the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, I said that. I said that on your podcast.
Right.
That's how little respect I have for what you do.
Matus.
There's always an excuse to Matus, as they say.
I
and
remember
that's what
that
I would do.
ad, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. So,
Because we're all.
I know.
yeah, well, I was just about to say, I think my mum used to drink Matus or something.
It would have been in
but-
all our parents' alcohol locker, when they had
So
a combination of things.
is it not good? I actually want
No,
some.
it's all right.
Right.
It's all right.
But
It's
what
fine.
would you,
But-
if you went for a rosé, what would be a good rosé? Should you just go top shelf and look for something French, or should you?
Nah.
No.
No, not for me. I don't. I actually prefer, rather than rosé, I prefer Rosado or Rosado, which are the Spanish and Portuguese versions of, Spanish and Italian versions of rosé. So Rosado is Italian, so it's going to be made maybe from Nebbiolo or from Sangiovese grapes, and I prefer those grapes. They're a bit richer and a little bit more textural, and not as light and kind of lean and acidic and clipped as I find some of those Provence-style French ones. And Rosado is Spanish, so it might be made from Tempranillo, or it might be made from a number of grapes. Touriga, it can be made from different varieties of grapes, and the different varieties of grapes add more colour and they add more texture and more flavour as well. So that kind of very, very pink French style, which is the Provence style from southern France, is not my favourite at all. I wouldn't buy that.
Okay.
You're right.
Is price always a reasonable indicator of quality?
Yeah, it is actually. It actually is. Like if you go to Dan's or something like that, it's a pretty good guide. It really is. Where it starts to get a bit silly is I find is over $100. Like I don't buy wine over $100 because it's not what I drink. But over $100, you start to get into a range where a bottle of $110 bottle of wine versus a $310 bottle of wine, I would never be able to pick the difference. But I can tell the difference between a $20 bottle of wine and a $60 bottle of wine.
Really?
Do you have a set range? Just say it's not big guests coming over. It's not a special occasion. We're just going to have a nice Friday in, but you feel like a nice vino. Where's your price window? Where do you always kind of revert to?
$30 to $35.
Ooh, this is good intel.
$30 to $35. $30 to $35. That's where all the gems sit in a bottle shop. $30 to $35. That's your little sweet zone right there. Because anything over $30, it takes it out of a bracket. So it's the whole thing of like buying under 30, and that's literally how they price point them in shops. Is they put it under 30 because the mental barrier of 30. People want to see a 2 in front of it. But over 30, but under 40 is really good. So I reckon around about $35, you find some really good quality wines there. $30 to $35 is your sweet spot.
Oh, that's my Penfolds Shiraz.
Yeah.
So I have an issue with sulfur. Like too much sulfur in some wines just makes me get all
Your sinuses play up and
so if I find a really good bottle of wine, then I stick to it. And my Penfolds Shiraz.
Can you eat dried apricots?
No.
Can't eat dried apricots.
No.
So the average amount of sulfites in a bottle of red wine in Australia is equivalent to about 3 dried apricots. So if you can eat 3 dried apricots, you can have a bottle of red wine in Australia and you'll have roughly the same amount of sulfites. And some manufacturers use more sulfites than others, and that's why some people have reactions with a lot of wine with wines with sulfur. And if you don't want sulfur, just find natural wine, and it will just have no preservative 220. That's the sulfur dioxide on the back of the label there. If you don't have that, they only do it to stabilise the wine just before they cap it or cork it. So they just put it in there, and that's to stop any secondary fermentation kicking off in the bottle before it goes to market. But it's usually, most times in Australia, very, very low sulfites, and the better the wine, usually the less sulfur required. It's because it's gone through a process and it's more stable.
Why is a more expensive wine more expensive? What's the difference? If the process of fermentation is the same, fancier vines?
Two things. Quality of grapes. So the older the grapes that have been around, they produce less grapes. This is not always the case. I'm just speaking very, very broadly. If a plant is older, it produces less grapes, but a higher concentration of flavours, so that the grapes themselves produce a better flavour when you eat them. And so therefore they make a better wine when you make it. The other thing that puts a lot of cost, particularly on things like Chardonnay, is the use of French oak. Those French baroques and the French barrels that they use, they can only be used, if it's new oak, they can only be used for 3 years, and then they have to be downgraded and taken to a different process. They can't be called new oak. And those oak barrels are about $2,000 each to put wine into them. And they are part of the process. So they're expensive, and that's what adds the cost to it. So Pinot Noir and Chardonnay are often heavily oaked. So as a result, the price goes up because the barrels are more expensive.
Makes sense. We've got some glasses here.
I've got to go. I'm so sorry.
Have you got to go?
Yeah, I'm running late. That's what I said. I would only be available, but I've got to bail.
Look,
I'm so
let him
sorry.
go.
Jesus. You've got 30 seconds
I
left.
literally just got a message them
Let it
saying
go.
you're late.
Great.
I'm going, I know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Thanks for joining us, Bez. It's
We
been
love
an absolute
you.
pleasure. You take care, young man. Thanks for the words of inspiration. We've enjoyed it. Go and see him. Grapes of Mirth,
Yep.
all around Australia. Comedy, wine, doesn't get any better. We love him. Piss off.
Thank you so much. I love that they just turned into a really, really rapid wine tutorial, and then it started getting really. Even I was boring myself. Your listeners are just going, just shut up. Talk about comedy. Talk about Rosso. Stop talking about yourself.
We loved it.
See you, dickhead.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys,
Bye.
all the best. Take care. Bye.
Well, I was going to ask him, like, fucking, how do you sound like a smart person when you're drinking wine? Like,
Give us your best.
Yeah, give us your best. Go on, give it.
I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, so I'm putting my nose in now. For those who aren't watching,
Having a
on
good
YouTube.
sniff.
I say read the back of
It
the
does
bottle.
smell. He said fruity, and you know what? That's the first time I've ever smelt it and gone, that's actually fruity.
Oh, I don't know why I'm smelling. I can't smell anything.
Yeah.
Hey, George, I know that you're 21. He probably was on air when you were born.
Yeah, I actually listened back to a lot of the older American Rosso stuff just on YouTube because
Really?
they were such the pioneers of radio. Like, you had your Hamish and Andy's and American Rosso and all those guys. So it was pretty surreal getting to have a bit of a chat and insight to the big fella.
Yeah, he's royalty. Like, when you think about that sort of American Rosso radio show, I think even predated Hamish and Andy. And it was kind of like, radio just lost Doug Mulray just recently. So he was the generation just before, that kind of naughty, edge-pushing, game-changing, pioneer of new radio. Yeah, and Mez sort of was that for our generation. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see people who have gone, full life circle and, they continue to, I guess that's the lesson, isn't it? Life is a constant work in progress.
Not everybody views it that way, though. Not everybody can look at it like that.
I'm drinking now.
Grant's just kicking back. He's checked out. Poor Merrick, you should apologise that we kept him so long. I was actually really interested in the wine chat because I don't know very much about wine. I know wines that I do like and what I don't like. Do you and Carly drink wine, George?
I'm just going back through my text messages, and yeah, Mez says, "Yep, I've moved moved it to 4 p.m. So I'm now available from 3 till 4. Well, it's 4:17, so."
Oh no! Whoops! Oh well.
How good's that?
Yep.
Whoopsies.
What about that bit?
We don't drink wine. No, we don't drink wine. We're more of a lemon, lime, and bitters kind of couple
Ooh,
on
Oh,
tap.
nice.
lemon, lime, and bitter. No alcohol.
No alcohol. Yes.
Oh,
Is there alcohol in lemon, lime, and bitters?
there is alcohol.
Yeah,
in
you
bitters.
can. There's a range called Brookvale that's really nice, and they
Yeah.
do lemon, lime, bitters.
So I wasn't. I've never been
Grant
sure
holding his wine. I can't
whether-
take it serious.
Let me tell you about the story.
I always thought lemon, lime, and bitters was a replacement for alcohol. So instead of alcohol, but it has alcohol in it, does it?
Bitters.
Yeah,
has-
so you can now get the alcohol range. It's
Right.
beautiful.
Or is bitters always alcohol?
Bitters does have alcohol in it. I'm
Right.
sure.
So when you order it at the pub, lemon, lime, and bitters, and they just make one in a glass.
No, it's like a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage.
Right. There you go.
How's that taste over there, GD?
Yeah,
Actually, it's
give us
pretty
a-
good.
Give us a breakdown of what it tastes like.
It smells toxic.
Chemically.
Fabulous. I had lots of questions I wanted to ask
when they
him
go,
about.
I've got hints of grapefruit in it. I got notes of raspberry.
Oh, you're very good at this. Do you
Is
really have that?
I think that's some redwood. It must be from the region of Tasmania. I don't have that sensitivity of taste. I can tell if something's a bit yucky.
Grant poured me one. I can't taste anything at the moment.
This podcast could go for 9 hours.
I've got water in the fridge.
Have you? Oh, well, that's right. Well, is
I'll
it
join in.
chlorinated water or is it fluoride free?
Fluoride free, my favourite.
No, I think what I like about Merrick is that he is very open about having it all and then kind of, going through a period where he, as he said, hit the ceiling and then kind of, hit a rock bottom, I guess, and then started to work his way back up.
I also love the book thing, how he's not going to write the book because he has so many more chapters to go.
Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. We've been asked to write a book, and I kind of feel the same. I feel like, I don't have a complete story to tell yet because the story ain't over.
Yeah,
Is there going to be a chapter on the windmill, DD?
Yeah.
The technique?
I'd be
Chapter 7, windmill.
Won't be a
You
chapter,
haven't
mate. It'll be a
done the window.
centerfold. You'll turn the book sideways and it'll
Oh,
just
my God.
fall open.
You might be able to cut it out and then spin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a game we can make.
Oh, maybe.
The windmill.
Origami.
Maybe. I've got
The
it.
windmill.
I can't say it now because people will steal our idea, but I've got the idea for the game.
Okay.
I'll beep it.
Yes.
So, George, are you taking Carly out for dinner and, are you going to, get a nice bottle of wine off the menu and...
Look, to be completely honest, I don't think we're wine people. I don't think I'm a wine person. I don't think she's a wine girl.
Have you ever had wine?
We like beer. Yeah, I've had wine, but I don't think I'm that kind of dude.
Do you know what? I remember
I might be converted
saying
one
that-
day.
I remember saying that when I was 21 as well.
Yeah, what age do I start drinking wine?
Yeah. I think that I first gulped down wine when I was older, 28 maybe. Yeah. Around the same time that I developed my first hangover.
Fond memories.
Yeah.
I might actually give it a taste test on one episode then. I'll get some wine out and have a go and see if I like it or not.
Perfect.
It's It's in a quiet. Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening to the last 5 minutes. I was just writing down some notes for this new board game that I've just invented only 30 seconds ago. Because we've been trying to come up with some board games that we can sell. So we're trying to do a deal with an organisation now, so we can release our own products, our own merch, our own games. And we've been kicking around some ideas of some games, and I just came up with a cracker.
Wow.
So listen up to the podcast in the
I
coming
think George,
whenevers.
I think George kind of tipped you off there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you might have.
So he might.
And it's all recorded, baby. Give me that percentage.
Well, we've got to sell one first.
What a shame we had an internet dropout just then. Oh, God, we're losing him. Oh, that
Yeah,
file's
lost the
going to be
audio
deleted.
Hey,
We'll have to interview Merrick again.
George, are you bringing Carly down to home sometime
I am.
soon?
So we've got
Bum
a
Nuggets
trip
07.
planned in a few months. Bum Nugget 07 and I are going to do a road trip down and
Great.
meet the family. And she really wants to see the snow. And I know it kind of does snow around that time of the year. So potentially might head out to the, your Obrons and your Oranges and just sort of, those areas of the central west of New South Wales and maybe get a bit of snow action.
Great.
Yeah, that's. Or just go to the snowfields.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably a lot easier and more reliable.
Yeah, other than just come down to the central west and hope that it snows in the time that you're here, or just go to where it's snowed.
That's a long way from here. I'm thinking if you come down, maybe we could put her on the podcast then.
Oh,
Yeah.
He will freak.
So 7.
No, but we'll do it really, really nice and really subtly.
Lots of wine.
Yeah, lots of wine. Big season next season. We've got some huge guests coming on. Yeah, don't we?
Oh, yeah? Like?
Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you because they're so big. Yeah.
Because we haven't reached out
I've
to
seen
them
the
yet.
emails. It's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you, George. It's been an absolute honour to spend another season with you.
Do you think we should get Faraz Durrani in on the podcast to talk about his version of events?
No.
On the falling out with Merrick Watts on...
2 sides to every story.
Absolutely, brother. No, there's 3 sides to every story.
Sides?
That
Oh my
person's
God.
side, the other person's side, and the truth. Yeah, I think
You
this
heard that on the
wine's-
TV show
This
the other
wine's
day.
really kicking in.
Yeah.
I did hear that in the TV the other day.
Yeah, I know.
That's actually very good. 3 sides to every story. Your version, my version, and the truth.
Yeah.
That's how they said it.
Unless there's 3 people involved, then 4.
God
Well,
damn it. Now
that
that's
is
getting
true.
confusing.
Yeah. No,
Sorry to throw a spanner in the works, guys.
I would like to talk to Jana Pittman.
yeah.
She was on SAS. That is one person that I would like to talk to.
And
Yeah.
just in case you're wondering, no, we're not just going through the black book of everyone who was on SAS.
No, but just
The
throw
chick-
it out there because
Yeah.
the last time I joked and I said I'd like to talk to Gabby Bernstein on the podcast
bloody
and
got her.
bloody got her.
Bloody God, we lied about who we were, but we got her.
So George, who would you like to have on the podcast?
Yeah.
Just like
It's
naming
very,
her.
very easy, straight up Bindio, and we need to get a chat with Bindio.
That's
And
right.
Mate, you got Bum Nuggets 07. You just need to forget about Bindi Irwin, my man. You know what I mean? That was a phase. That was a time in your life, and what a time!
We did reach
Not
out for
this time.
Bindi, and we had. They gave us Robert. Remember?
Oh yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
Which is a big get, but not what you were after.
no, and then they cancelled last minute. But
Exactly. They probably
we don't
did
need to
research
out them
on
or shame
who I was and were like, we don't want Bindi to be in contact with this dude.
with her stalker, who would you like, Grant? Just throw it out there.
You know what? I don't want to. I want to limit myself to one person. Oh, this
Will
one.
Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith. That's a good one. That's actually a really good one.
I haven't reached out to him, so maybe I'll get emailing.
Just do a DM on Insta.
Be good to chat to Margot Robbie. We've been watching the Barbie trailer a lot in this house. The new Barbie
the
movie.
Barbie trailer.
And you love
Have you
Ryan
seen it?
Gosling.
The trailer's so cool.
It's
It's
so
such
cool.
a spin out. They're all called Ken and Barbie.
I know. Grant doesn't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I just love it how he's like, he goes, hi, Barbie. Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Ken. And he's like, Ryan Gosling goes, ugh.
Yeah, I don't.
He growls
I don't
because
get
the other
joke.
Ken is, look.
Yeah.
How do you not get that?
But it looks cute.
It does look really
It
cute.
does look cute.
I love it. All right.
What about I don't know. What about like someone from Jackass?
The what?
What about Johnny Knoxville from Jackass?
Oh, Jackass. Oh, yeah. Johnny Knoxville. Oh, yeah. It's been a while since
We've seen
met him.
Yep, he was absolutely off his face.
Yeah.
when we saw him at sunrise. I don't
Yep.
think he'd slept for about a week.
No. Yep, he was pretty annoying and he smelt really bad.
Like
But
a
yes, we
brewery.
could get him back on.
Um,
Get him on, I mean. Yep.
who else? Barack Obama.
Okay. Yep. I'll start
That'd be
emailing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That would be
What
cool.
about Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
cute. Is that the book that she was reading to you in bed?
No,
Bum
it
Nuggets
was the
07?
Game of Thrones range, the House of the Dragon. I think if we avoid any of that sort of stuff or any hair talk influences, that'll be great.
You know, the good news about watching that video of you having that book read to you is it put me to sleep. So thank you.
Hey, George.
I'm glad I could help. I'm glad we could help.
Who's Carly's favourite celebrity? Favourite person?
Niall Horan from One Direction. Niall Horan.
Okay.
The blondie.
All right, there's a target.
Actually, he's a bit like you, George. I mean,
Oh
you're a
my
bit like him,
God.
yes.
yes.
In what way? In what world
Yes.
am I Niall Horan?
Yeah,
Mate,
you're a bit like Niall
similar
Horan.
facial features. You
Yes.
both play the guitar. You both sing. You're both nice guys.
Both really sweet.
Yep. Similar hair. Mate,
Yeah.
I see
Interesting.
it. I see it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to get emailing. I'm going to try
All
and
these
get him on the show.
revelations.
Yep. We love you, George. Thanks for joining us for
I love you guys.
Season 7. We'll see you back next week with Season 8.
What a way to finish out Australia. Hope you've enjoyed that exciting finish of Shezzy's big sell on the next season.
Woo!
We
Be
love ya.
true.
Be true.
Love you.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shezzy Denya.
Bye bye. See you next time.